How Biden's menthol ban endangers black bodies. Before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my merch store, a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here, and there's also a link to my mental health coaching and consultation page. All right, let's talk about this news. President Joe Biden ban on menthol cigarettes will put black communities at risk of more violent interactions with police, according to a myriad of experts ranging from former law enforcement to left wing constitutional attorneys. That's right, even the left is admitting this. The Biden administration has made no secret of the fact that targeting menthol cigarettes is meant to change the behavior of the black community, alleging that a ban will help reduce racial disparities in the healthcare system. Criminalizing black people behavior, according to the Biden administration, is the best course of action. And we should know from history of the from the 48 years that Biden's been in office. Um, um, we know that he locked black people up. That's his mo. That's what he does. Jim Crow Joe. That's what he's been doing is locking black people up, and I think he's using this guise of health for a way to lock more black people up. But quote, black smokers prefer menthol products, and the Biden administration's decision to ban menthol cigarettes will inevitably fuel an already well established lucrative and violent illicit market. Richard Moranos, a former senior official with the Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, told the Washington Free Beacon, quote, this will criminalize the behavior of black communities and lead to more interaction with law enforcement, not less. And I mean, that's common sense. It doesn't take someone from a senior official from the bureau to admit that. If you think about it, any person with common sense will know that criminalizing something like this will lock up more black people, because black people are the ones that particularly use menthols in their tobacco products. But data support Moreno's assertion too. The National Survey on Drug Use and Health revealed that nearly 85% of black smokers prefer mentholated cigarettes compared to just 30% of white smokers. As the Food and Drug Administration moves forward with its policy to outlaw menthol, Biden this week released an outline of his executive order to, quote, advance effective, accountable policing and criminal justice practices. The menthol ban stands in direct contradiction of the new policy, which has a stated goal of stamping out, quote, systematic racism in our criminal justice system and our institutions more broadly. Quote, why in this nation, why do so many black Americans wake up knowing they could lose their life in the course of just living their day? Biden said in the signing ceremony for the executive order, simply jogging, shopping, sleeping, and home. Well, I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna make a statement about this as a black man. I'm not worried about losing my life by jogging from a police officer. That's not something I even think about. That's not something that crossed my mind not 1 minute at all when I'm traversing through my community. That's not something I think about. So why is that something Biden talking about when most black people don't even worry about that? This is something that the media puts out there. This is the media narrative. This is not the black American narrative. When I'm hanging around black folks, talking to my black friends and stuff like that, that's not something that even comes up as a topic. But Biden's move to criminalize menthol cigarettes will violate his goal of eliminating disparate impact, supposedly neutral policies that disproportionately affect minority communities in law enforcement. His executive order calls for disparate impact studies on the use of force by law enforcement and asserts that, quote, fatal encounters with law enforcement have disproportionately involved black and brown people. And by statistics, that is statistically untrue also. You can pull up the statistics and see exactly how many black people, how many white people died encounters with police officers, and overwhelmingly, it's white people. So I mean that's not it's not true what he's stating. They just make these broad statements and that's not based on any type of facts, any type of research or anything. But such desperate impact is why Biden menthol ban has earned criticism from left-wing civil liberties activists such as the American Civil Liberties Union. An attorney for the organization in a letter last year highlighted the irony of such a ban in the wake of George Floyd's death. Quote, as we approach the 1 year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd, only a few years removed from the killing of Eric Garner, a black man killed by NYPD for selling loose, untaxed cigarettes. The racially disparate impact of the criminal legal system has captured the national attention, the attorney wrote. It's now clear that such policies that amount to prohibition have serious racial justice implications. And this is and on top of that, this is what Biden is doing. He is actually signed this executive order, which will criminalize. Will we end up seeing more people like Eric Gardner being hurt by the police because of his policies? I mean, more than likely. Americans agree with the assessment that a menthol cigarette ban will increase criminality. An April survey found that an overwhelming majority of swing state voters agree with the statement that, quote, a ban on menthol cigarettes wouldn't stop the sale of this product. It would push the product out of legitimate stores and into street corners where gangs and violent criminals sell and generate profit for organized crime. And I mean, this is common sense. But nothing that's coming out of this government, nothing that's coming out of this White House is common sense. It's the stuff they doing. It has the exact opposite effect of what they're saying they want it to do. But I think that's by design. I think this is on purpose. I think he want to lock up black people. That's exactly why he pushing this. As recently as 2020, Democrats such as Frank Pallone from New Jersey contended that an increase in the illicit cigarette market would mean communities of color bearing the brunt of the enforcement. Pallone supported his claim by arguing that blacks are already disproportionately the subject of criminal investigations. The Free Beacon previously covered Republican plans to use the unpopularity of a menthol cigarette ban in the upcoming midterm elections. Fewer than 32% of voters in Nevada, Georgia, and North Carolina support such a policy, which I think that's ingenious. Talk about it, let people know what's going on, and show people that Joe Biden does not have their best interests in mind. Although Biden policy seemingly applies only to tobacco products, vaping industry insiders expressed concern to the Free Beacon that about future actions against non-combustible products such as menthol flavored Juul pods. The FDA in 2019 announced a plan to eventually ban all non-tobacco flavored vaping products. I mean, that's all they do is just ban stuff. They don't come with creative ideas. All they do is tell you what you can't do. That's all the leftists do. They're authoritarians, and that's their MO. Or, quote, federal and state governments are hell bent on outlawing the single most effective and popular smoking cessation method ever devised, nicotine vaping, said Amanda Weil, president of the American Vapor Manufacturers, a leading trade group of the vaping industry. Quote, police are routinely tasing and arresting people for vaping, and the government engraved invitation to black marketeers and is only going to make the appalling injustice far more dangerous. And I totally agree. I couldn't have said it any better. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out themarkrepublics.com for the latest news. Until next time, peace. Oh,